Alright, so we just got some crazy news about a new Walking Dead crossover show or spin-off or reunion season, whatever you would like to call it. And this was teased / confirmed, quote unquote, by Greg Nicotero himself. So in today's video, I'm just going to be breaking it down and everything that he said and what does this mean for the future of The Walking Dead. And I'm going to be comparing to the other rumors we got for this crossover spin-off and how does this line up with everything. So please stay tuned. And now, before we actually get into the video, I'd like to ask you all to like, share, and subscribe. And again, thank you guys so much for the growth. Thank you guys so much for the support. I really appreciate it. And I'd like to ask you all to like this video as much as you guys can. It helps a ton. But without further ado, let's get right into the video. And now this supposed confirmation is coming from Brandon Davis, who had a podcast with Greg Nicotero. And basically what they were talking about is a potential Walking Dead crossover spin-off, right? Because Brandon Davis started off by saying that it is weird that the CRM were taken out in the last episode of The Ones Who Live, which, you know, just sidelining here, I've been saying that for so long, and many other people in the community have been saying that for so long, that it just seemed so weird that the CRM just went out like that, even though they seemed like the Thanos or the big bads of the Walking Dead universe. But Greg Nicotero does follow that up by saying that, yeah, the CRM is gone, but there has been a lot of talk of these characters coming together in some sort of reunion show, even before The Ones Who Live was even produced, right? These talks were going on for quite some time, and the main focus for The Ones Who Live was to show where Rick Grimes went, right? You know, The Ones Who Live was a Rick and Michonne story. But he did confirm that there are talks, right? He didn't say specifically that there are talks going on recently, right? You know, currently that there are going talks, but there are stuff that's been going on for the past couple of months that confirm that fact, right? And before I get into that, with Greg Nicotero saying that there has been talks even before The Ones Who Live was produced, right? Even like when The Ones Who Live was supposed to be the Walking Dead movie, there has always been a plan for a reunion show, right? And I don't believe that they're just going to throw that out of the window, right? They're not going to throw that concept out of the window at all, right? No, these characters are going to come together, and with Greg Nicotero saying that, yeah, you know, it's in our plans, right? You know, we are talking about it. It seems like that they are going to announce something sooner rather than later, right? Because he was very, like, in my opinion, like, you know, just by looking at this podcast, he seemed very hesitant on, like, talking about it more, right? You know, he's just talking about The Ones Who Live and the CRM, and then he just closed it off from there, and then they just changed the topic after that. So I think that there are real talks going on behind the scenes, and of course, before the past couple of months, right, you know, Andrew Lincoln did say that there are talks going on currently for him to come back as Rick Grimes, right? And everything else saying that, like, you know, there is some sort of reunion show in the works, and like a lot of leaks are coming out that, yeah, like, you know, they are producing something like that, right? Because like a tour guide, right? I said this in my previous video, some sort of tour guide or a person on social media that has been following, like, you know, production for The Walking Dead, right? You know, they went to The Walking Dead studios and they went to Grimes Gate, and apparently somebody there told this person that there is some sort of pre-production meeting going on. So I would not be surprised if we are going to get an announcement of some sorts later on in the future, right? Because yet again, like, I think that AMC, Greg Nicotero, Scott Gimple, right, all of them are smart enough to not leave this open-ended, right? And we have gotten a lot more rumors, right, about the spin-offs, right? And the main focus of the spin-offs were to, you know, conclude the characters' stories and character arcs, right? And it seems like that they're going to be setting up the future of this crossover event, right, in these two spin-offs, The Walking Dead, Daryl Dixon, and Dead City, because it seems like that Daryl Dixon Season 4 is going to wrap up pretty nicely. And now recent rumors for Daryl Dixon Season 4 state that Dwight is going to be making an appearance in Daryl Dixon Season 4. And again, take this with a grain of salt, right? And there hasn't been really concrete evidence, but this has been picking up some steam for the past 2 days now. And I have the link for this article down below, so if you guys want to check that out, you guys can. But this source is coming from The Walking Dead Universe FR on Instagram. And they stated that, as many know, filming for the 4th and final season of The Walking Dead Daryl Dixon wrapped in mid-November 2025, but numerous rumors are still circulating online. In November, on social media and in fan photos, actor Austin Emilio, aka Dwight from the original series The Walking Dead and Fear the Walking Dead, was spotted in Madrid. He was photographed with members of the Daryl Dixon production team while filming was still underway in Spain. Of course, nothing confirms the actor's presence in the final season, so are you for or against a possible return of Dwight? And yeah, and apparently this source is very, very reliable, right? And me personally, like I've been following this Instagram page for quite some time, and I think that they are pretty reliable. So yet again, no matter how reliable a source is, take it with a grain of salt. But apparently Dwight is showing up in Daryl Dixon. Now, I thought he was going to show up in Dead City, right, because that made the most sense. But yet again, you have Daryl's promise to Dwight that if he sees him again, he will kill him. So let's see how much that changes in Daryl Dixon season 4. And I think that this specific rumor is proof that they are starting to set up this reunion series, right? Because there have been a lot of rumors that there is a crossover spin-off or reunion season in the works. And yeah, this is proof of that, like, also the Fear the characters are going to show up in this show, and with Greg Nicotero saying that there are talks underway, and also Andrew Lincoln confirming that he's going to come back as Rick Grimes, and just so many sources, including Daniel RPK, stating the fact that there is going to be a crossover series. It seems like the perfect time that they're going to set this thing up. Now, yet again, like I said before, I don't know what capacity Dwight is going to be showing up in the show, but he was spotted in Spain. So it's very likely that him and Sherry probably end up in Spain in some way, like how Daryl and Carol ended up there, right? And I don't think that Dwight is specifically going to go look for Daryl, right? Because that doesn't really make any sense whatsoever, right? And they have no time to set that up and everything like that. But I think that this is going to mean that maybe, just maybe, we might get some sort of scene in the Commonwealth of Daryl probably radioing in on, like, the Commonwealth saying that we're in Spain right now. Possibly not. Again, I know that this is a real shot in the dark, but what if they confirmed that Dwight and Sherry made their way to the Commonwealth and they were sent to get Daryl and Carol to bring them back? Now, again, it doesn't say Sherry, but it says Dwight, so yet again, I'm not way too sure as to what to say about this, right? Because it would have made more sense for Dead City. But like how I said before, it is clear proof that they are going to set up the reunion series. And that's why I think that this reunion series is going to be announced after Daryl Dixon season 4, right? Because you finally got Dwight, right? And again, Gabriel showing up in The Ones Who Live was a totally different thing, right? Because Gabriel really had nothing to do with Rick and Michonne's story, right? He didn't even meet Rick and Michonne in that show. But it seems like that Dwight is going to meet Daryl. Now, yet again, do we know that if Dwight had some scenes with Daryl? I'm not too sure, but he was spotted in Spain, so that could mean that it's probably going to be like the cliffhanger, or it's probably going to be like the second last episode where Dwight shows up, and then in the last episode, him and Daryl, they go back, right? Because Daryl has to go back home some way, right? And I think that Dwight bringing a boat would be the perfect way for Daryl to come back home. Now, again, what reason is it that, like, Dwight is there? I'm not too sure, right? But yeah, like, this is very exciting news. But with this rumor of Dwight showing up in Daryl Dixon season 4, it's just clear evidence and proof that they're really working on a crossover spin-off, right? And yet again, like, the past couple of months, actually ever since The Ones Who Live concluded, they never ruled out the possibility of a reunion show, right? And I know that a lot of people in my comment section, and also in a lot of other comment section of other creators, have been saying that, they're not going to do anything with the Walking Dead universe, right? And it does seem like that, right, at face value, but if we really look into it, right, they never deconfirmed anything. They never said that we're not going to do that, right? Because what reason do they have to tease it over and over and over again, right? And to even keep these spin-offs, like, going on, right? To continue these spin-offs further if they're not really going to make anything later on, right? And I think that, yet again, like, with Dwight showing up and also the possibility of another mainline Walking Dead character showing up in Dead City, I think they're going into full force with this crossover spinoff, with Greg Nicotero saying it, that there are talks going on, right? He could have easily said that, no, we're not working on anything anymore, it was something planned beforehand, but now it's totally off the table. He didn't say anything like that, right? No, he still kept it up in the air, and basically he left it open-ended. So yeah, like, I firmly believe that we're going to get an announcement of some sorts later on in the year, most likely after Daryl Dixon season 4, because that makes the most sense. Because if Dwight is actually showing up in season 4 of Daryl Dixon, then I think it's the perfect moment to announce the crossover spin-off, right? Because with Dwight showing up, right, with them adding that character in general, they have to follow that up with something, right? And if they don't, if they just go radio silent after that, I think that's just going to be a really stupid decision, because clearly they are setting something up here. Clearly there is something going on, and I think at Comic-Con there is going to be an announcement. And I think in Dead City season 3 or potentially even season 4, I think that Rick Grimes might show up, right? Because there have been a lot of rumors in the past that Rick Grimes is potentially going to show up in Dead City season 3 or season 4, and I think that is very possible now, right? I think that we're gonna see Rick Grimes sooner rather than later. But yeah, that's it for today's video. I'd like to ask you all to like, share, and subscribe. And again, thank you guys so much for the growth. Thank you guys so much for the support. I really appreciate it. And I'd like to ask you all to like this video as much as you guys can. It helps a ton. And also, with The Boys season 5 final trailer coming out tomorrow, I will be breaking that down. So press your bell notifications for that. I will be coming out with a video of that very soon. But yeah, other than that, thank you guys so much for watching.